All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, look at what we're getting into. Hang on, let me move my face cam so you can really appreciate what we're doing today. We are going to be exploring, just having a little bit of fun with these three leaders. Okay, we've got Kin'emon, Kouzuki Oden, and Promo Uta. That's right. I haven't found any special sauce or anything like that for these leaders. It's nothing like that, guys. This is just meant to be a more fun, lighthearted, chill video where we explore some leaders that don't see a lot of action right now. They're not very well represented in the current meta or format. Yeah, that's putting it lightly, right? Okay. So, guys, let me give you a quick layout what we're going to be getting into. First things first, we are going to head over to the VV Lab, and we're going to check out a game of Red Yellow Sabo versus Blue Doflamingo. That should be very interesting and hopefully very educational. Okay, after that, we're going to head straight over to the sim. We've got these these three leaders to go over. I've got 5 games altogether. It's going to be 2 games of Oden, 2 games of Uta, and 1 game, of Kin'emon. Okay, I don't, in no particular order, but those are the 5 games we're going to go over. Then we're going to wrap it up by checking out the leaders, the deck list that I'm running, and we'll wrap it up in that way. And, you know, I'll tell you guys what I think altogether. Final thoughts, or however you want to say that. So yeah, you know what you get into. Hey, you've been warned, guys. You've been warned for this video. I will have everything time-stamped down in the general description, so you can hop around wherever you want to. I'll have all the deck lists and any kind of relevant links down in the comment section as well. Okay, guys? All right, let's do this. This should be very interesting. This was a very challenging video to put together, to put it plainly, to put it mildly. So here we go. Real quick, before we get started, guys, this first part here is we're going to be hopping into the VV Lab. If you're a new listener, first of all, welcome to the channel, of course, and you might be wondering, what is the VV Lab? Well, at the beginning of each one of my videos, I try to designate that area to a community-submitted video, you know, of gameplay that I review. Okay, so pretty much we're just gonna watch this game. I'm gonna commentate over it. I'm gonna analyze it and tell you guys what I think about the situation, about the matchup, about choices and things like that. It kind of works as a free coaching session, guys. So if you're interested in me reviewing your game, it's completely free of charge, guys, and it's very easy to do. It's like a 3-step process. First, record your game, okay, the game you want me to review. Second, upload it to YouTube. And then third, you're going to hop over to the VV Theory Discord, and I have a channel called Review My Game. And in there, you're going to post the link to the video that you upload to YouTube. And as soon as I see it, I put the thumbs up emoji right by it, and that way you know that I've got it. And then you're just, whenever it's your turn in line, you get thrown in line. Okay, easy enough. Everything I said was free and pretty simple. Now, if you do have any, if you do have any questions on that whole process, please do not hesitate to ask down in the comment section below or on the Discord. The Discord is definitely the best way to get in touch with me or to get help the fastest. Okay, now let's get into this game. I'm very excited about this one, actually. Let me turn the volume off. Let me get the speed up to 2x. The quality is as high as it'll go. This one's only 480p, so just, bear with me, guys. Sometimes it is a lower quality, but not a big deal. We'll take what we can get. Now, let's do this. We've got a game of Red Yellow Sabo versus Blue Doflamingo, and I'm going to tell you guys right now that ever since Doflamingo, hang on, I do want to see what they had in their opening hand there. Hang on, let me pause real quick when they get their opening hand before they mulligan. Okay, excuse me. Ever since Blue Doflamingo got their new tools from OP0 8.5 from ST17, I think it is. Guys, Blue Doflamingo used to be a free match for Red Yellow Sabo before OP0 8.5. Now it's much harder. I'm not saying it's unwinnable. Now, I would say it's actually very close to 50-50. But before Doflamingo got the new tools that it has now, it was an absolute cakewalk. It was a free matchup. Now, into this game. Let's analyze this opening hand here. Double Zoro. We have Ace in this list. Very nice. And we have Fire Fist and a Satori. So to keep this or to not is a real question here. And by the way, the opponent is going first. The Doffy player has won the dice roll, and they chose to go first for this game. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this start because there's no removal. So I do agree they mulligan. Let's see if they get rewarded for this. Very nice. Okay, very nice. We got the Nami and a Bonnie if we need that later, and a Fire Fist. Koala. This is not a bad opening hand. Let's see what happens here. Yep, turn one, we're going to pass. Unfortunately, right now, if let me say something real quick. This deck is running Ace, the 5-cost Rush Ace and the 2-cost one we saw. I'm not exactly sure about the entire list here, guys. However, one nice thing about the Goa Kingdom version of Red Yellow Sabo, which is what I've been playing a lot lately, is you get a 1-drop. You actually get a turn 1 play of turn 1 Garp, do a top 5 search for the 2-cost guys or the 5-cost guys. Like, that's actually very, very relevant. And then there's also the event. You have 8 1-drops you have access to. Okay, but we didn't have anything this time. So swing 7,000 with Doflamingo. I think we should probably... There was an argument to counter out. So real quick, let me say something real quick, guys. Remember how Nami works, the 5-cost Nami. Nami requires you to trash a trigger card from your hand. And that's probably why they didn't want to counter out early, maybe. But generally speaking, this version of Red Yellow Sabo, it is a little different than what I'm used to seeing for the standard version. The standard version of Red Yellow Sabo, it wants to counter out hyper aggressively. Number 1, to keep their life high, and number 2, to get their hand size low so that they can get the full value from that Nami. And that's one thing I will say is I would have actually countered out of that, but it's also not like the end of the world taking it. It's just you won't get the full value from your Nami because Nami has a stipulation at the end or an extra advantage or benefit at the end where it says if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, you draw a card from her effect as well. And that's where you want to be to get the full value from that card. Okay, but it's not the end of the world taking that hit. Okay, and then we got a Ace for it and then a Frankie for the turn. Okay, so right here, let's see what they choose to do. They are going to choose to play out the Nami, swing for 5, force a 1K counter out of hand or a 2K. But here's the thing about Doffy. Wow, they just took... That's very interesting that they just took that hit. So let me pause real quick. I think that was actually a play mistake by Doflamingo. I'd have to see their hand. But you want to get a card in your trash for your Gecko Moria, just in case you don't have the Weevil follow-up with your the Weevil, Boa, or Trafalgar Law follow-up with your Jinbei or your leader effect. So that was very odd they didn't counter out of that. But hey, we're not complaining as Red Yellow Sabo. We are not complaining. They're going to play out a Perona, set the top 5 cards of their deck, and we're going to see what they decide to do with that. Let's see what they got access to with their leader here. Because now the follow-up play, if they don't have a Jinbei follow-up, would be to attach 3 Dawn to your leader, swing for 8, use the leader effect, and then see what you get from the top of your deck that you set there with Perona. Wow, okay, so yet another reason, interesting, yet another reason why it's very, very intelligent to counter out very aggressively against Doffy, and just in general with this deck. You want to counter out aggressively so that you have access to your triggers. Now, they did help us out. This is actually a better hand, in my opinion, than what we had. So we had, we had Cracker, which would have been nice to drop down just as a threat to force out Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. And we did have a Zoro in hand, which was really good, and an Ace. However, look at the hand they gave us. It's really not much worse. It's just 2 cards less. But these are very strong cards we have in hand. And if we take this hit, we go down to 2 life and we have access to our Ace. Let's see what they decide to do here. There is an argument to counter out of this, though. Let me say something real quick, guys. There is an argument to counter out of this with a Jory Bonnie, and then next turn, just on tempo, play out your Nami to pop this pudding. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a big target. Just pop the pudding, cycle through a card in your deck, and go from there. And you don't even have to trash the Sanji. Actually, you could trash the Fire Fist if you need to. Okay, let's see what happens. I would probably counter out of this. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, with the Jory Bonnie and everything. That's exactly what I would have done. Now, real quick, what I would do first here is attach 1 Dawn to the Bonnie, swing 5 with the Bonnie, and then swing 5 with my leader, and then play out the Nami, KOing... Actually, hang on. No, I did say that. I said that in the wrong order, because if they take the hit, then we don't get to draw 2 trash, or we don't get to draw a card with Nami. So I take that back. Sorry, guys, a little bit off there. You definitely want to play out the Nami first to pop the pudding, then swing for 5 with the Bonnie, and then 5 with the leader. That's what I would do this turn. Or maybe don't even swing with the Bonnie at that point. Popping the pudding, excellent. Yeah, the only thing I might have done differently is I might have thrown away the Fire Fist. Fire Fist is not insane against Doffy unless you have a Lindbergh already established or on the field, but even then they're going to bounce it with Trafalgar Law. Everything else there I think was absolutely fine. I just would have considered trashing the Fire Fist. But let's see if the Fire Fist comes in later to help us. Okay, so they do establish a pretty nice little, nice little tempo play here. They're going to set the top 3 cards of their deck. They're going to get to cheat out a card with Doflamingo, the leader, because of what they just set there, and they get to swing for 8,000 instead of 7. But we're just going to take it anyway, I think. Okay, they cheat out the Weevil, seems good, and we do get a 5-call 6K rush Luffy from that. Excuse me. Okay, swinging 6 into the Weevil. So okay, wait. Hang on one second, guys. I'm sorry, we have to go back. Don't worry, we'll fast forward. So right here, I missed something. We popped that. Oh, okay, I see. So we attached one Dawn to our leader. I was like, wait, why didn't we get to cycle a card with Bonnie since they took a life? We just swung for 6 with leader. So I would have attached a Dawn to Bonnie here, and I would have swung for 5 with the leader. If they take it, like they did, if they take it, we just draw 2 trash one pass turn, don't even attack with Jory Bonnie. But if they don't take it, and they counter out, I would swing with the Jory Bonnie to potentially get another card out of hand, and then that way they're going to want to attack into the Jory Bonnie as well. That would save us a life in that way. That's just one slight variation. I don't think this was a play mistake doing it this way. I just think there's another way we could have done that. Okay, now real quick, let's get caught up to where we are. They get the Weevil out, they swung in, and here we go. So now it's our turn. Oops, let me unpause it. Okay, attaching one Dawn to the leader. Yeah, that's always a smart play, you know, especially if we're going to try to gain a life this turn, which we might not. Now, let's talk about that real quick. This is a good turn to set Nami into life. We want the Nami into life so that way we can get full value from her trigger effect again. We'll be able to use the trigger effect again. We'll be able to buff up our Jory Bonnie and smash in accordingly. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Absolutely. Swing 7 into 6. Maybe 8 into 6 would have been a better call, but that's okay. Okay, so now we're going to load this up. Now we've got another 7K attack. I think we need to... Okay, so pause. It looks like they wanted to establish the ace. Interesting. So I think what was intended there was to establish an ace. Let's go back, and if they wanted to do that, they needed to do it before they put the card back into life. So that was a slight play mistake if that was the intent. Not a huge deal, because you can. I actually would abandon that play now. I would actually completely abandon that play. I'd swing 8, and I would play out the Sanji, because they're probably going to Gravity Blade this next turn here. They have a full board. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Yeah, so right here, I would swing for 7. Yeah, I would actually, or I see. There's a lot of issues here. Do you go 7 into the? Okay, hang on. Lots going on. So do we swing for 7 into the Weevil, or do we swing 7 into face and potentially draw 2 trash one? Honestly, I think the answer there was draw or swing 7 into face. Now they can just boa. They can boa 2K counter, or they could get greedy and take a life. However, they're not going to let that Weevil go if they can protect it. And 5 cards in hand, guys, Doflamingo has so many 2K counters just at all times. I don't know how it works. They just always have them. You know, they have a lot of ways to set cards and stuff, but still. Excuse me. So that ended up working out fine, though. We're going to play out the Sanji here and pass the turn. I would let this Bonnie go. First attack they send into Bonnie, I would let it go. They might even Gravity Blade this turn, like I said, because they're about to have a 9 Dawn turn. So they're on their 9 Dawn turn here. Let's see what they decide to do with it. 5 into what? What? Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, that's a 6K character. Absolutely, just let this thing go. I would let this thing go so that way, okay, we're going to counter out, it looks like. Yeah, that's why we want to let it go. He's mousing over the reason. Yes, excellent. Okay, so they let that card go. So now when they attack in, we're going to take this, and we're going to... Okay, we're going to counter out. Interesting. So we could have... So hear me out real quick. I wouldn't care about the boa. I wouldn't care about the boa because they're just going to play out another gecko and bring it back if they want it. But, or at least they could. They could potentially, they might not have that card in hand. But hear me out real quick. Right here, we could have saved a card in hand. Were we just trying to cycle? Is that what's going on? Hang on. So hear me out. What I would have done here is I would have taken this hit and KO'd the Jinbei, and I wouldn't even worried about the cycle with the Nami. But it looks like, so we 2K countered out here, and now we can use the cycle with Nami. Yep. And we take this, use... trashing the Fire Fist, popping that, and we do at least get to cycle into a Kikinojo, not bad. But I would have just not even taken the extra hit and kept the 2K counter in my hand. But I guess that worked out fine too in the end. That was fine. Okay, so let's see what happens here. They play out a Jinbei cheating out Weevil, and let's see, they still have 7. They still have 5 Dawn left for the turn. They've not used their leader effect yet. So let's see what they get. Are they going to try to blind rip it? So there's the Gecko. They always have Gecko, guys, I'm telling you. I've said this before. Let me pause for a second because this is not looking good. First things first. When it comes to Doflamingo, there are 2 cards in particular I think are the problem, and I don't think it's Jinbei. I'm going to eventually be doing a state of the game address type of thing, like, you know, where I do a video on that, probably in the next week or 2. And I don't think Jinbei's the problem. I think they could have done a better job designing Jinbei and turned him into a 5-cost 6K with a 1K counter that cheats out of 4 or less 7 Warlords. I think that would have made it more balanced, so that way you can't cheat out with a leader for super tempo. However, the bigger problem for me is this 4-cost 5K Gecko Moria that gets to let them draw back a card from their trash that they need. Like, oh, okay, I'll just get another 2K counter. Oh, I need a Jinbei? I'll snag that. Oh, you got rid of my Trafalgar Law earlier? I'll just snag that and get another bounce effect. That card is an issue for me personally instead of these others. Like, I'm okay with Jinbei. I'm okay with Weevil. I think that makes a lot of sense. You have to have... So, guys, if you haven't noticed, and again, we're going to do a little miniature rant here, and I will address this again later in the, in the future, like in a whole entire future video dedicated to the state of the game. However, Jinbei is not really that crazy if you think about it. It's the things he can cheat out that are crazy. Like Weevil, I don't even think that's that crazy. Bo is a little overstated for what she's doing, but the big problems that really start hurting us the most is Gecko is getting a card back from the trash. It's replacing itself with a specific card that you want. Weevil replaces itself, but it's not a counter in hand. And same thing with Boa. Boa kind of like replaces herself by adding a Dawn to the leader, but it's a little bit different, right? It gets to set the top card so you can replace it on the field. But again, it's no counter, and it does a lot, but I can still play around Boa. But if I've got characters on the board and you start playing out Trafalgar Law, bouncing my characters back to my hand, well, now I'm in trouble. You know, and it would be one thing if they played out a character to bounce my character, but no, they're going to like play out a Jinbei that cheats out the other guy. And again, I will address this later in a whole entire another video dedicated to the balance right now, or at least, you know, my interpretation of how the game is balanced. But I just want to say this up front. Everything on the board right now I can deal with, but I don't know if I can deal with Gecko Moria because it's getting back these cards that are going to protect their board. Like, he just got a 2K counter back. He got the Crocodile 2K counter back from his trash. Okay, well, now I can't swing 6 into his dude. You know, and if I do, he has 4 cards in hand. He would only have 3. So it just does so much for them. And the other card, like I said, that I actually have a problem with, or if I didn't say it, the card I was going to go to next was actually Trafalgar Law. I would rather them have these Edward Weevils in their hand and these Boas, which have no counter power, and then once I take them out, I know they're gone. Whereas Gecko Moria lets them recycle the cards again once I already deal with them. And then Trafalgar Law lets them recycle their searchers while bouncing my character with tempo. Like, that's where it's like, man, that's going to be, again, that's going to be for its own video, but in the situation we're in right now, they played out the Gecko Moria. We know they have a 2K counter. Let's use as much knowledge as we can of this game here. This is a very bad position to be in. They're coming in for 6K. We do have a 2K counter, and I think now might be the time to pull on the 2K counter. I think I would use this 2K counter in this situation, and next turn it is cleanup. We're in full cleanup mode, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Let's see what happens. We could also try to take it and try to get a trigger. We do. Okay, never punished. Never punished. That's awesome. So trash the Kikanojo. Perfect. KO the Weevil. Excellent. Or the Gecko. I think the Gecko would have been another good one because they can't pull that back from the trash with the, with another Gecko. It can't pull itself out from, I believe. I think that's right. Okay, so we knew they had that Crocodile, so that's information that we knew was coming. Hang on a second. What all are we trying to play out this turn? Okay, so we're going to play out this guy. Swing for 7. Yeah, I would swing 8. I think I would swing 8 here. Yeah, swing 8 into the Weevil. Okay, this should... if this doesn't deal with it, it just proves everything I was saying. Yeah, so imagine if they had one less 2K counter in hand right now. If they had one less 2K counter in hand right now because of the Gecko, because the Gecko gave them one, I feel like this would have been a much more manageable turn. Okay, so now we have to push that card back. And then I would attack in for 7 here. And right now, he's starting to think like, wow, maybe I should have used Koala. Maybe. More than likely, yes. At least swung for 8. Because we have 2 Dawn active. Make sure, guys, because we technically could have had 3 swings for 8 this turn. Right? Because it was 8 with Ace. We could have swung 8 with the leader. And then we'd have 1 Dawn left for the Sanji, who's a 7K. And we could have swung for 8 with that. So I guess what I'm suggesting is I think we should have swung for 8 into Edward Weevil the first time with the leader, and then 8 with Ace into Weevil, and then if somehow it survived, then we swing the rest into the rested Jinbei. Because either way, you're getting a body off the board. That's the way that I would see it. Okay, let's see what happens. We have 2 life. They have 5 attacks coming in this turn. Was I not just talking about this? Like, so now, however close the game was, it's that much further away from us now, right? So they're going to swing 7 into 5. We do counter out of it aggressively with the Sanji. Okay, give him a 2K, sure. And now we should at least be able to survive. 2K, nice. So now we at least get 1 more turn. Let's see what happens. Yep, got to take this. And then they have 2 more Dawn, swing for 7. And here's the crappy part. We know it's in their hand, so we have absolutely no way of hang on, Paul, let me see what they counter out with. Do they have another 2K? Because we know they have a 1K. Do they have another 2K? Okay, very nice. We got that card out of the way. So now we can play this guy out, smash in for 7. Whoops. Okay, smash in for 8. That's fine. And then we'll play out the Zoro, push this card back. Okay, I mean, we're hanging in there, but the crappy part is they do have lethal on the board. Let's see if our opponent can figure that out, because right now we have 2 cards in hand. So that means swing for 9 and then swing for 11, but they can just swing for 9 twice because they know what our top life card is. It's a 0 counter. So this should be a good game right here, unfortunately. Yep, and they have completely made that they know what's going on here. Swing for 10. Okay, Perfume Femur, that's funny. Oops, okay, and that was game. Let me see what was in their hand at the end. Okay, see if I can pause it fast enough. Let me put it on like really slow speed here. Okay, so they had double bouncers in hand. We couldn't even hide behind a wall of blockers or anything like that. They're just going to bounce whatever out of the way. But that was a really good game, a really educational game. There were a few things I would have done differently, so just hear me out for a second. Let me put it back on 2x speed. 2x, okay. So the first one I think was right around here. When they took this hit, that was awesome. We got to draw 2 trash. Oh, there was one before this. Hang on. So right here, they swing for 7. This is perfect for us because we can literally just 2K, 1K counter out. And I actually think I would have. I would have just gave him a 2K, 1K to get out of this. And I would have actually gave him the Koala and the Bonnie. Because we're going to get to use our, what's her name? Nami on the following turn. Right? Or actually, no. So we're on even. Hang on one second. That does make it a little bit complicated. And that's probably why they chose to take this. But I like to keep my hand size low. And one thing I can tell you right now, I have completely gotten away from Shanks in my red, yellow, Sabo list. I know it helps against Bonnie. I know it helps against Enel. But Shanks, for me, in this current meta, the big bad boogeyman, or whatever you want to call him, is Doffy, is Blue Doflamingo. At least where I live, guys, there have been so many Blue Doffy players where I live. I think last night we had it was a 32-player tournament at my locals. And I think probably 25% of the field was Blue Doffy. Maybe more. I didn't do an actual head count, but every table I looked at, there was always a Blue Doffy. I mean, there was some other stuff too. I think there were some NLs. There was some. I think Jory Bonnie ended up winning winning tonight or last night, and then I think there was a Vegapunk as well who scored very highly. I think they were in the top 4. But yeah, anyway, you guys get the point. The point is this: a lot of the decks there were Blue Doffy. So it's okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to make sure my deck can deal with that. And honestly, yeah, you can drop Shanks against Blue Doffy if you're that far ahead. But that's kind of the whole point, right? It's well, if we're already that far ahead, we didn't need it to begin with. But I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below about 10 call Shanks in the current format. Now, real quick, just back to the game. I personally would have countered out of this. Even though we don't have a follow-up, I'll just swing 9 at their face. Because I would literally just counter out with my my Koala plus my Bonnie here. And let's see what would have happened. We end up taking it. We would have drawn for the turn. So we had an ace on top. We would have drawn a 4-cost play for the turn if we needed it. We could have played out the ace, or excuse me, the ace, the Frankie if we needed to, and just swing for 5. But this ended up working out fine. And then there was a turn right after this, right here. Okay, so they punished us with the pudding, but not a big deal. We got a pretty decent hand from that. Now, right here, this was done exactly the way I would have done it with one exception. So that you popped the pudding first in correct sequencing, so you got to draw 1, trash 1, or trash 1, draw 1 with the Nami effect. Now, right here, I would have attached 1 Dawn to the Jory Bonnie, since we kept it in hand. Okay, and then I would swing 5 with my leader, and then 5 with the Jory Bonnie. Unless they took the first hit from the leader, then I'm not even going to swing with Bonnie. You see what I mean? That's one thing I would have done differently. Because think about what that did. They would have probably countered out then, right? They'd have been all right, well, now they're going to counter out. Okay, perfect. Now, instead of having, what, 3, 6, 7 cards in hand, they'd have 5. Because they'd have to counter out, excuse me, they'd have 4. They'd have 4 cards in hand because they would have had to counter out of one attack, counter out of the other attack, and they wouldn't have gotten the extra card in hand from drawing, right? You know, from taking the hit. So that's like the one major thing I had to play around, or try to play around. Everything else seemed pretty textbook. Our hand got a little bit bricked up here for a little bit here with like these rushers. Oh, that's right. There was a play right here that we messed up on. And let's talk about this real quick. So this play was an absolute, like, I feel like I could see in the motion of the mouse of this game here where it's like they realized a mistake had been made. So this is what I think the actual play was going to be. I think it was going to be swing 7 into the Jinbei like we see here, and then watch what happens. 2K counter out. Now watch. They push the card to life. Now we're at 3 life. Ace requires you to be at 2 life in order to get rush. So we lost a rusher there. And at that point, I do think it kind of snowballed a little bit like in a bad direction. Because hear me out, what we could have done, we could have played out the ace first, then push the Nami back and load up the plus 2,000 on the ace and swung for 9,000 into that Edward Weevil. And now that Edward Weevil, excuse me, now that ace is a 9,000 for the rest of the turn. Like until the start of your next turn where it's going to be really hard to deal with it. Okay, I get excited about these red, yellow Sabo games. I'm sure there was much more to talk about, but I got to wrap that up there. This is starting to run long. Really, really good submission. I love those guys. And someone has asked me before, it's like, do you only take wins? Absolutely not, guys. Show me a close game of yours where you lost, and we'll talk about it. I don't care if you win, lose. I don't care if it's on the sim or if you do a live recording of the game with you and your friend, like, you know, like a live, with the actual physical cards, whichever one works for me, digital or physical. Okay, now, give me a second just to get set up real quick, and we'll hop over to the sim. I guess it's like, wait, we're already on the sim. But no, you guys know what I mean. We've got to look at some games now of some pretty crazy leaders. Let me turn the overlay off, and here we go. Nice. It's in the perfect spot and everything for the camera. So, first up, guys, we've got 2 games of red Promo Uta. This leader's effect is awful. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative or anything. It has potential if they would give this archetype the potential that it gave the green film stuff, where if you could cheat out a bunch of little bodies, then this actually would be kind of decent. And I do think there's been a slight problem with power creep. So the activate main on this leader, for those who are not aware, I believe it's pay 1 and then give a character with no effect, so what we call vanilla characters that has no effect, give a character that has no effect plus 2,000 power for the turn. Well, if it's going to be like that, then why can't you just give plus 2,000 to any character? Why does it have to be a character with no effect? You know what I mean? Because if you just attach one Dawn to your... Think about this, guys. This is how much the game has changed and how I don't know what to say, how weak they wanted to make sure this leader was, or how not broken they wanted to make sure this leader was. Because with Zoro, if you attach one Dawn, you give plus 2,000 power, right? If you only have one character on the board, because your leader now gets plus 1,000 and your one character. And if you have 4 or 5 characters, then you get all that extra power. Whereas this leader can activate main once per turn. They can't even do it multiple times per turn. They can activate main once per turn, give a character with no effect, so a vanilla character, plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn. At least, like, make it last until the start of your next turn or something, right? But anyway, all right, let's get into these games. This leader was very interesting to play. Now, it does have the film package. Hang on one second, guys. Let me pause. The volume is not off. Let me get the speed on 2x. All right, I was slacking today, guys. Did you guys see that? I was slacking. Okay, so here we go. I will show off the list afterwards, guys. And, of course, I'm running a film Red Hair Pirates hybrid package, so that way I can search up some film or hybrid stuff. And notice I do have some cards that are vanillas in here. And that's my only hope, is just to flood the board with a bunch of very, high, cost-efficient characters as far as their stats go. So we'll swing in for 5. They're going to use their leader effect, of course. I play out 1 Uta. This guy, does one better. He gets to play out 2 Utas. Seems good. We're going to play out Shiraya. He's just a good blocker. All right, well, he's a good blocker when he can block, but he can't even block right now. And then he swings it for 6. We take that. I swing for 5. And now it's time to play out good old Bear King. Guys, so few people read this card. Just so everyone's aware, if there is a character on the board with, I think it's a character or leader, with 6,000 base power or more, he cannot be KO'd in battle. So that card is actually a nuisance. Oh, thank you. You played out a 6,000 power character. Perfect. You know, and I think it actually probably would apply to the leader in this situation as well, you know, for the following turn, even if this character somehow was removed. But I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure. Okay, so here we go. Right here. Okay, I'm just going to curve out. Look at my 1-3-5-7 curve, guys. Promo Uta broken? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, like that curve is actually pretty disgusting. Okay, so that guy made a huge blunder there. He absolutely 1,000,000% should have trashed my Bear King. Because Bear King is a nuisance. Shariah is more of like just a safe card. It's not like an aggressive card. Whereas Bear King, I'm just going to start attacking in as soon as I have the board where I want to start attacking in. And technically speaking, I actually wasted a turn. I should have swung in with my Bear King last turn, but I was scared that he would KO it because I got rid of the 6,000 power character. Okay. Here we go. They swing in for 6. I get a Kid and Killer. Hey, why not run Kid and Killer if you're running a red deck, right? I mean, it's just real strong. So we're going to smash in for 7 here. Then we've got another 7K coming in, right? We've got another Ben Beckman attack coming in for 7. Let's see what they do. Just waiting on our opponent here. They -1 and 2K counter. Very nice. And now, okay, we're going to swing in for 6. I have not used the leader effect yet. But, you know, at the same time, the threat's just looming, right? Okay. We got this guy down here. Dice, I think is his name, and Shariah. Dice is just a 4-call 6K searchable character for me. I think he's, I believe he's film searchable. In fact, I think I'm running the film searchable 4-call 6K and the new Red Hair Pirates 4-call 6K vanilla Rockstar, I think his name is, or something like that. I think we'll see it later in the game. Okay, so I'm just reading Kid and Killer at the top right there. My opponent's trying to decide what they want to do. I don't have an answer for him. I don't know what the right call is here. Swinging for 5. Now, I think my opponent is about to get educated on what Bear King does here. Okay, again, does not pop the Bear King. Swings 8 into Bear King. I've got bad news for you. This character cannot be KO'd in battle if you have a character with 6,000 power more on the field. Your opponent, like not even you. Okay, swing for 7 into 5. So again, they just got a lesson there on how Bear King works. They had to learn that the very, very hard way. So now we're going to smash in for 7. Okay, so slight play mistake there. Remember, guys, all I had to do was pay 1 with my leader and give this guy plus 2,000. So that was technically a play mistake there. I don't know why I didn't use my leader effect the one time I've gotten to use it this game. But hey, I had never played this leader before, guys. I've played, so out of all 3 of the leaders we're playing today, Kin'emon, Oden, and Promo Red Film Uta, whatever they're calling it. Or whatever they call it, whoever plays. I don't know if anyone even plays this leader. But whatever this leader goes by, I've never played this one. At least not that I'm aware of. Whereas Kin'emon, I dabbled in, but the green Kouzuki Oden, I don't think I'd ever play that either until the videos for today. Red-green Oden I like a lot, but the green Oden, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Okay, here we go. So we're swinging in for 7. It should be for 8. It goes through anyway, so I started feeling better about that immediately. Swing in for 7. They -1. 2K counter out. Swing for 7. I'm just clobbering this guy. Guys, like, I'm just swinging in, going wide and swinging in. If you want to test your fundamentals, we have to talk about this real quick. If you want to test out like how good you are like at the game and like practice your fundamentals and getting better, play an underpowered leader. See how good your fundamentals are, because that's the only thing that can carry you at this point. You know, it's like, okay, let's see how good we can do this. I mean, because this is against Shanks, guys. Like Promo Uta here against Shanks. What am I doing? I'm not even using my leader. I'm just trying to make the best decisions on the board and curve out. So if you're trying to improve your deck building skills, the best way you can improve deck building, your skills with deck building, is choose a leader that is considered the worst in the game. Like literally, whatever the worst leader you would consider in the game by your standards, play that. And try to win with it. Try to make a deck that wins with it. And if you lose the first 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, how many... Guys, I have not paused the game, by the way. We're just waiting on our opponent here. They're up against the ropes. And we have a decent amount of counter in hand. Nothing crazy. Plays out Rayleigh. He's going to do some power reduction here. But hear me out. If you want to get better at designing decks in the game and becoming a better deck builder, this is the best way to do it. Choose a leader that is absolutely horrible in your opinion, and then try to make it work. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. Try to make it work again. And if you lose 20 games in a row, just keep trying. You know, don't get mad though. If you need to take breaks in between there and play like a more meta deck, do that. But that's the best advice I can give people if you're trying to get better and better at deck building. Okay, so he's going to swing 7. And okay, pause. He made the mistake again, and he just quit. And it was a mistake that was going to cost him, right? Number one, I could have countered out if I wanted to. But look what he did, guys. Let's go back real quick. Let me hit play, go back. What did he do here? Okay, so from here on, let me analyze it real quick with everybody. 7 into 4, I'm going to let that go. I'm not blocking. And then what does he do? Here's the mistake. Here's the big one, guys. Here it is. 7 into 6. But what character is that, guys? That's Bear King. Okay, Bear King sneaks wins like crazy, guys. Bear King is so good at sneaking wins on people who has no idea what he does. They try to swing 7 into 6. I go, okay, sure, I'll take it. He can't be KO'd in battle. So the guy just quit. And it was a mistake that was really severe, but I think the game was over anyway, because hear me out, guys. They only have 2 Dawn left for the turn. So say they swing, say they were going to swing for 7 into my, into dice instead, because that was a better target. Okay, I'm going to give him a 1K, 1K. Right? I've got 2 1Ks in my hand. I only have to use 2 of those to get out of the 7 because he's a 6 base. He survives. Then when he loads up 7 on his leader to swing into it again, I use my Shariah to block and use another 1K from my hand, and I get out of it. Then on the crackback, guys, look at my attacks. Like, look, my attacks are going to be swing. Well, in this case, it'll probably be swing 8, swing 8, swing 8, swing 8, right? Because their leader is has the leader effect. So as long as you're swinging 3 over while he has the leader effect, it's probably going through. So he was pretty much going to be gone on the crackback, and he wasn't finishing off any more of these characters. Okay, next game. That one was pretty fun. Okay, we've got another banger from OP09, guys, with Promo Uta here. That's right, Blackbeard. Okay, Marshall D. Teach versus Promo Uta. Normal matchup. You know, this is your everyday matchup right here. I know, but no, seriously. In this situation here, okay, you need to be thinking, let me make sure, the volume is off, right? The speed's on 2x, yeah, we're good to go. How am I supposed to beat Blackbeard with any deck? Because this actually, let me pause this for a second. This is actually a good example of how you have to deal with the game to play and get, you know, to learn how to beat matchups anyway. Marshall D. Teach turns all of your opponent's characters into vanilla characters anyway. Right? So, okay, well, in that case, I just need to swing as wide as possible. I just need to go out on curve and go as wide as possible and smash into this, into the leader. So let's see what happens here. Do a top 3 search with a Luffy there. That's a really cool searcher. Has trigger to do the effect as well. We're on 3 Dawn. I have a lot of Ben Beckmans, but that's not the greatest card in this matchup, right? Because they can shut down your own play effects if they choose to. I'm specifically just trying to go wide here. They swing for 5. I'm going to give him a Ben Beckman because I expect him to start, you know, shutting down my own plays. Okay, so right here, I think we're going to swing for 6. Excuse me, and we're going to play out Rockstar. So here's the 4-cost 6K Red Hair Pirates searchable vanilla card. Okay, just waiting for our opponent now. They're on a 6 Dawn turn. They have Burgess on the field. They have 6 Dawn to work with. What are they going to do? How much removal are they running? Because that 4-cost 6K, I would see that as an Edward Weevil in this matchup. Like, they should just be using one of their 4-cost events that pop a 4 or less, or a 5 or less if it's Shigan Finger Pistol. Okay, so let's see what they do. Again, we're specifically just waiting on the opponent here. They're going to swing for 6. They're going to swing for 6 with their Burgess. I'm just going to take this. They're going to swing for 5. Okay, I think I'm just going to counter out of this. I give him a 2K counter because I don't want to give up any of these other cards in my hand. Okay, and they have 5 Dawn left. So what are they going for? You know, are they going for that Katarina card or the Katarina Devon or whatever it is? Or are they going for, okay, there's the 4-cost Shigan Finger Pistol. They pop my guy. But guess what they did not do? They did not trash a card to turn off my on-play effects this turn. So you see the card we have in the top right of the screen here? Ben Beckman is going to punish this guy for that. Because Ben Beckman, oh, you guys might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Burgess can get around KO effects. Ben Beckman trashes characters. So here we go. He's going to learn that the hard way. That card's gone. We're going to swing in for 5. I did it in that order just in case they tried to, you know, counter out and then Burgess's power goes up too high or something. I didn't know what all was in their trash. It's like, just get rid of it while you can. Okay, and I'm just playing on curve again, guys. That's the name of the game sometimes. Just play on curve, and then you actually have a very high chance of winning any game. You know, if your curve is strong enough with something like Ben Beckman, cards like Shariah, into Bear King, into Ben Beckman. You know, if you have a leader that you really like, let me say that real quick too while we're waiting on this guy. If you have a leader that you absolutely love, like it's easily like your favorite leader, you want to build a deck around it, well, your best bet is, okay, play that leader and just build a strong curve around it. Like whatever your color pool is. Okay, he's going to use a Liberation here. Oh, he trashed Liberation to turn off my on-play effects for next turn, which ended up actually being very solid. Okay, yep, because now I can't hit this guy. I can't hit this Burgess with my Ben Beckman. But I still probably will play out the Ben Beckman here just for tempo reasons. Okay, so real quick, like I was saying, actually, no, it looks like I might play out some other stuff here. So swing 5, swing 5. I'm trying to eat up cards from his hand and get his life low. Swing 5, yep. 6, and then 7, and then play out a Shariah. That seems pretty good as well. So let me finish that thought real quick. If you're trying to just build a deck with like your favorite leader, just make sure the curve is good. Don't even worry about the leader effect until later. Like once you've built a deck that has a strong curve, then you can go back and really assess the situation. Okay, so this guy is swinging with just blank attacks here. So he's trying to play out the 10 cost Blackbeard, right? Let's see what he does. Trashing a card so he doesn't forget. I like that. Okay, that's fine. Hey, while you're learning a leader, that's the best way to do it. Do an effect, even if it's not the best sequencing, just so you learn it better. Swinging for 5. Okay, swinging for 5, are we? So that means they're playing out Blackbeard, right? There's no question. I'm countering out of this. I'm pretty sure I counter out of this, guys. Yep. Boom. We're going to counter out of that one. Now he's going to swing in for 7. Into 3. I'm going to block and 2K 1K out of that one. Now he can play out the Blackbeard or the Marshall D. Teach and shut down my Beckman attack and turn off my... And same with the leader. But here's the issue. Here's the issue, guys. I have a lot of attacks coming in. And that's why I hyper-aggressively countered out of those attacks. I've got 4 attacks coming in this turn. I'm going to swing for 6 in this specific situation to get all the 2K counters out of his hand. There's a Shuriya. We're going to go for 6 more, I think. Okay. Oh, that's a bad sign, and it's also a play mistake, right? So we're going to swing for 6 again since he told me he has no counters, and now we're going to swing for 7. Let's see what he has in hand. GG. He only had a 1K counter in hand. So let's just talk about something real quick that the opponent did incorrectly. So in this situation right here, when I swung for 6, they have 1 life left. Don't tell me anything yet. Take the card. Don't block. In that situation, you don't block. Okay? And another thing, they should have used Doc Q there to pop my Uta. They were too scared to give up the Doc Uta because I would have attacked into it the next turn, and they were probably going to try to follow up with this Laboon to KO a bigger character. They got greedy. That was a greedy play, not trying to KO my Uta. If they KO my Uta, the entire turn is different now. The entire turn is different, unless I still wanted to go for lethal. If I wanted to go for lethal, I would have had to swing for much larger numbers on my my 3 attacks, because all 3 would have to go through, right? Because one's hitting a block, one's hitting a life, one's going for lethal. Then I would have had to probably swing for, what, maybe 8, 8, 8 I probably could have done, because I have a 3,000 power character. He would require 5, and then, no, so it had to be 7, 8, 8. I think that's the biggest I could have gone. Either way, hopefully you guys see what I'm saying there. Which actually would not have worked, by the way, because notice they did have the 2K counter Shuriya, and they had the 1K counter Laboon in hand, and it looks like the card they got from the top of their life was probably Marshall D. Teach. So, anyway, the guy got greedy, not popping the Uta here. That was an absolutely greedy play not doing that, or maybe they forgot. You know, it's possible. People do forget. People make play mistakes. But on top of that, right here, when I swung for 6, okay, they 2K counter out of this one, right? Now watch. I swing for 6 more. Right here, they should have just taken it. Like, just take the hit just to see if you could have gotten another counter from hand, and then that could have changed all the attacks from here on. But after that point, like I said, I was like, okay, we'll swing 6, swing 7, and then GG. Okay, that was fun. Okay, now let's head over to Oden. We've got two fun games of Oden here. Game versus Blue Doffy, guys. Is this a new answer to Blue Doffy? I'm just kidding. It's not. Okay, spoiler warning, it's not. I'm just kidding, guys. Just kidding. So speed is 2x. Volume is off. Here we go. They get the blind rip, you know, with the 4-cost 6K Vanilla Gecko. Very strong card for that. But on my 4-Dawn turn here, we're going to do this. I'm going to trash a card. Okay, pause. A lot just happened there. Hang on 1 second, guys. Okay, so they cheated out that card. I'm gonna match, you know, fire with fire here. I'm going to play out the Hiyori. It's going to allow me to cheat out the Ryuma and draw a card. So it works as a very strong cycle card. It gets me the I don't remember that character's name, Raza or something, Raza. Razo. And then I used the leader effect. I trashed the 8-cost Kouzuki Oden from my hand to use the leader effect to stand 2 Dawn, set him as active. And then I play out the Momonosuke and draw a card with it. So do you see what I'm doing here? It's like, hey, would you like to dedicate your next attack into my 1-cost 0-power Searcher? Be my guest. And I got to already set my hand for it. And if they don't, if they choose not to, that's crazy, right? Because then I'm going to draw a bunch of cards. Okay, here we go. It is now my opponent's turn. Let's see what they're very smart. Yep, I 100% agree with that decision. They're going to swing in on that. I let it go. They play out the Buggy. Excuse me. They set their top 3. They play out Jinbei, cheating out Weevil. And I think we're just going to tempo Kin'emon here. It looks like that's what I'm trying to do. And I can cheat out the Raizo. We'll swing for 5. Swing for 6. Okay, that's eating some cards up now. Play out this guy, Raizo. That was the character's name. Play out the Raizo, and your turn. I'm kind of matching their tempo, guys. And then they drop a Gravity Blade, a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. So hear me out. They actually made a mistake there, in my personal opinion. So what I would be doing in this situation, I wouldn't mind swinging the 6 into my Ryuma to get a card out first, and then use Gravity Blade. Even if they KO my Jinbei, or my Weevil, who cares, right? It actually doesn't even matter. Because if they could have gotten rid of the Ryuma, then they could have fully cleared my board. Okay, let's see what happens here. They're going to get rid of that like they did. Swing in for 6. I don't even have a 2K counter, so we're probably just going to take this. We take it, get the Ryuma. Swinging in for 5. We're going to counter out. Take that one. Okay, here we go. Nice. Momonosuke was a great top deck because now I can activate my Raizo if needed. I'll swing 5 into 5. Let's see if they give me this card. They might give me the Jinbei. They might counter out. They counter out. Very nice. We'll pop that. We'll pop that. Okay, and I don't even swing with the Raizo yet. It's like, you know what? I'll just clear out their board. Your turn. They play out Doflamingo. I still have 2 life left. I don't have much counter power in hand, guys. That is a problem. Okay, but I am going to counter out if they give me a 5K attack. You better believe it. So they set their top 5 cards with the Doflamingo. They're going to swing for 7. They play out a Gecko. They knew what it was. They get something out of there. I think they got a 2K counter out of the trash. I think they were actually concerned at this point. Okay, so right here, I do want to draw a card with the Raizo. So for those who are not aware, pause, perfect timing. Raizo he's a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter. He is land of Wano and 9 red Scabbards, so that allows him to get cheated out with the Kin'emon. But here's the thing. He has a win attacking once per turn. If you have 2 or more rested characters, draw a card. Now, he does search himself, right? So if you have 1 rested character and then you attack with him, well, now you have 2 or more rested characters, and you can draw a card. So really, really strong effect here. And that also plays into the Land of Wano Kouzuki Oden idea. Now remember, not leaders, by the way. We're talking about characters, so that would not count. The Kouzuki Oden would not count towards the Raizo effect. Okay, so now we're going to swing in for, I think, just 6 at face. See what he gives me. He takes it. See if he gets a trigger. No trigger. I'm going to tap down the that guy, the Doffy. We're going to... So we drew a... hang on, guys. I'm like... The game's going by so quickly. I play out the Yamato. That can rest a 6 or less character. That 4-cost, 6,000 power character, Yamato, can rest a 6 or less on play. Very, very powerful. And good synergy with our Ryuma, who can pop a 4 or less. That's rested. So right here, I just, I end up resting down the Doffy, swing 4 into the 2,000 power Buggy, drawing me a card into Okiku, and now I'm going to swing 6 into the Doflamingo. And my turn's not over, guys. My turn's not over. Watch this. Okay, they gave up. Their game was over, okay? That'll teach them, right? Now, they could have countered out if they wanted to save their Doffy, but here's how this turn was going to end. After that play right there, I was going to use my leader effect, trashing a card from hand to stand up the 2 Dawn I needed to play out the Kin'emon. And I was going to play out the Kikinojo on top of the Raizo, get rid of the Raizo. Like, they were in trouble, guys. That was going to be a nasty follow-up there. Okay, that was the first game of Doffy. They just had to tap out. They were in so much trouble because there was no way they were going to try to keep that card on me. I guess they could have tried and gone for lethal this turn. Because let me see something. Yeah, they could have... They probably could have saved... They could have saved the card. So they could have done a 2K, 1K, and then they could have swung for 9 and 10 on the follow-up. And that would have probably won for them, right? Not a 9-10 follow-up. Let me see. I had 1, 2. I only had 2K counter from that. So unless I got rid of that Doflamingo, they could have easily won on the crackback. So very, very funny. That was a fun one there, though. Okay, next game. They got scared, bro. They got scared. They flinched. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? You know, because they don't know what's in your hand. I had 6 cards in my hand. They didn't know what any of them were. Okay. Here we go. Gonna play out the Momo again. Great little start there. Great little start. We're gonna rest that down. We drew the, I think it was a Raizo, and we've got a pretty decent little turn here. They're gonna swing 5 into 0. They know what's up. Okay, they're a Land of Wano leader as well. They understand how good Momo is. We're gonna do the Otama here. Do a top 5 search for a green Land of Wano card. Okay, well that's good. That's a good thing, right? Because I think 90% of my deck is Land of Wano. It might all be. I'm trying to think if I don't think I'm running Hoodie Jones or anything like that. Okay, they counter out of that 5K. We play out the Okiku, and now I can start eating this board up. They're going to swing for 7, double attack. I take it. Nice, got the secret Yamato in hand now, and Kin'emon. Bro, what were they doing in life together? What were they doing that close to each other in life? Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. But here we go. We're going to play out the Kikanojo, or excuse me, the Hiyori cheating out the Yamato, drawing a card from the effect, and I can trash a card now and still play out a 4-cost character. Guys, now I can't use that effect on top of it because I'll have exactly 4 Dawn left. So we're going to swing for 5. Let's see what they get. Hopefully no trigger. Hopefully no KO trigger. We'll swing for 5 more. I would expect them to counter out of this, right? Or use the blocker. Use anything. Counter out. Very nice. We're going to use the leader effect. Trashing the Oden. Playing out the Ryuma. Popping the Kikanojo. Your turn. That's a decent board, guys. That's a decent board. And I still have a little bit of counter power in hand. I have a 2K, 1K, and 2 more. So I have like 5K counter in hand. Not bad. Playing out Arlong, very annoying. That's a good card, guys. Arlong is actually a really good card because I think the trigger taps a 4 or less, if I'm not mistaken. So you know, has a trigger, 4-cost 6K, shuts down leader attack on play. Really good stuff. 7 into 5. I was like, oh man, you know, I did save that aggressively so they would attack into the leader, so I didn't get hit with double attack. There was some, there was a method to the madness there. So we're going to swing for 6 here. Let's see if they decide to take it because we're just going to pop the Mihawk with a Ryuma, I think. Okay. So we're going to swing for 5. I'm fine with them just using... I was going to say using a 1K counter. Blocker? Sure, we'll take it. We'll use this effect. We'll trash a card from hand. Stand 2 Dawn up. Replace the Otama with the Ryuma. Bro, that board's kind of crazy. That board is kind of crazy, guys. I've got card draw. I've got everything but a blocker on this board. I even have on KO protection with like Ryuma. And I think... And then Kin'emon lets me attack more than once, dude. Oh, man, this is looking good. Oh, man, I lost that card. No big deal. He gave his leader banish. He's coming in for 9 banish, double attack. We lost it. Oh, well, it is what it is. But guess what, guys? I think it's time to go for lethal. I think it's time to go for lethal. What do you guys think? All right, now I can't swing with the Raizo first because I want to draw 2 cards with his effect. That is not a once per turn effect, is it? Or it might be, actually. But either way, I'll be able to swing twice with him with Kin'emon. Excuse me, I think it is a once per turn effect. But all right, so I swing for 7. Any triggers? We're just waiting for my opponent here. Notice I moused over the card up there. I'm just waiting for him to decide. Okay. And right here, we're going to swing for 7. Yeah, load up 3 on Raizo for sure. Swinging in for 7. We get to draw a card from that, but we're not going to need that. They're going to get the Sanji. Oh, okay. Yamato. We'll just rest down a 4 or less. Seems good. Excuse me, a 6 or less. There goes your blocker. We're going to swing for 7. Standing up the Raizo. And I still have 2 more attacks, 3 more attacks, swing 7. It would have been swing 7, swing 6, swing 6. That's a lot to get out of, dude. That is, with 3 cards in hand and no Dawn active, it's kind of hard to get out of a 7-6-6. It's kind of oh wait, it's impossible, right? It's impossible. All right, good stuff. That was fun. Hey, Oden, that's just a good time. I'm not even going to lie, guys. That was just a good time. Whoops, restarted. Okay, we got 1 more game. Who was it? Oh yeah, Kin'emon. Oh yeah, how could I forget? We got Kin'emon here. Now, I know for a while this leader was actually doing decent. Like, nothing crazy, but it was very explosive. Let me see something. Volume was off. Speeds on 2x. Yeah, we're good to go. And these, one more thing. I do think the list that I am running for Kin'emon and Oden are very, very similar. They're a little bit off. They're not the exact same, but they're very similar because they are both Land of Wano leaders. Okay, so we cheat out the Yamato there, and then okay. We didn't cheat out the Yamato, but we played Yamato on the cheap to be able to rest down the Zoro, and then we used the extra Dawn for the turn we had from that effect to swing 6 into 4, and they save it. They give me a 2K 1K or a 2K 2K to get out of that attack, whatever it was. Okay, they're going to swing in for 5 to ramp their Dawn. All right, I think we actually might take this. I think we might aggressively take against Red Purple Luffy here because I don't think they run. Sometimes I've seen some lists run the 4-cost law that can punish you if you have a lot of hand size, but I'm not really worried about that here. Okay, that's the nice thing about being a 5-life leader, guys. I'm so used to playing 4-life leaders, but you know, having a 5-life leader seems so good sometimes. So we'll go ahead and play out the Izo to rest this card down. We swung 6 into that one. We're going to swing 6 into this one. It's like, hey, dude, if you want to give me your whole hand protecting these Zoros, absolutely be my guest. We're going to play that out to draw 2 cards. We played out the Momo and used You Can Be My Samurai to draw 2. I have 1 Dawn active. Oh, well, you know, that was inefficient, I guess, but definitely it happens. Okay, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen right here. This person played out a Luffy Taro to play out the Frankie as a 2, you know, it's usually just a 2K counter, but he attacked in. Hey, he got some value for it, cleaned up my board a little bit. I'm going to swing 6 into 4. There goes the 2K counter. And now I think we're going to use Wano effect to cheat out a card for 1 less this turn that costs 3 or more. And his land of Wano, playing out the Hiyori, basically playing a Yamato for 3. A 5-cost Yamato we played for 3 Dawn and drew a card from it. We still have 4 Dawn for the turn. And I go ahead and play out the Okiku here. I want to be able to get through his blockers and go for lethal next turn, if possible. If possible. But they're about to go 8 into 6. We're actually, I think I should protect this. I think I should protect this and force him to attack into it with his leader. 6 into 6. We're not going to give him that. We're not going to give him that for that, you know, that easily. Okay, so he definitely should have gone for lethal. Hang on. So let's... I think I could have gotten out of it, but still, like, let me do some math real quick. Yeah, it would have been swing 8 into face. I would have taken that. And then it could have been swing 7 into face. I would have countered out of that because then I'd had 2 life. Then I'd have been fine. Okay, so that's probably what he should have done, though, was gone for lethal instead and forced me to win on the crackback. Okay. They play out a 3-cost, 6-cost Sanji. You know, the old-fashioned 3-cost, 6-cost Sanji. Seems good because my Kikinojo, or my Okiku, cannot deal with that. They clean up my board a little bit. Now they're building back into the game. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, so let's see what we decide to do here. I have to swing for 8 first with this guy and get a blocker or a 2K or a Rad Beam. That's fine. That's fine. That was actually as intended. That was definitely as intended. And now we're going to be able to swing in for 7, swing in for 7, and then play out the 3-cost blocker. This blocker's nice, guys. That little blocker there, Cat Viper, that's a 3-cost 4K, but it does not have a counter, which really hurts. It does in Red-Green Oden. In Red-Green Oden, it does have a counter because of the leader effect, but not in this one. Okay, swinging in there. That's fine. Okay, and then we top decked a... so it didn't matter, to be honest. Like, I top decked the Yamato 1 turn too late because I could have rested down the Sanji with that Yamato, but this Okiku has a Dawn ×1 when attacking, rest a 5 or less. So I'm just going to rest down the Queen, come in for going for like 9 or 10, and then going for 10 more. Yep. So, swing in, rest that guy, coming in for 10. I'm basically saying, hey, you got it or you don't, dude. Do you have a 2K, 1K? And the answer is no. He does not even have a 1K. Not even a single card of counter. So, that was it. That was a lot of fun. That was a good one. Not saying that these decks are insane or anything, but they sure are a lot of fun. So, real quick, let's go over the deck list that I was running so we can wrap this video up. I can't believe this video ended up being 57 minutes long or over an hour long. But, hey, here we go, guys. So, Promo Uta... so here's the leader. Activate main once per turn, pay 1, up to one of your characters without effects gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. So in other words, that is a vanilla cards like I was saying earlier. A card like Dice here, a card like Rockstar, a card like Schneider. Okay, this random guy right here. This is a film searchable card. This is film searchable, and this is Red Hair Pirate searchable. I was running the film searcher Luffy, and I was running the Red Hair Pirate searcher Uta. So there is like a combination where you can go Luffy, do a top search for Uta. Uta searches up something like Ben Beckman or Rockstar or Shanks. You know, it does have quite a few little options there. And the nice part about Shanks in this deck is that he does have 2 different searchers, because he is a film and Straw Hat, or Straw Hat. He is a film and Red Hair Pirates. So, you know, Uta or Luffy can snag Shanks here, which is really nice. Everything else, though, I think is only one or the other. Yeah, this version of Ben Beckman is just one or the other. Or, excuse me, it's just Red Hair Pirates. Even though there is a 7-cost Ben Beckman that is film and Red Hair Pirates, and it is a vanilla, so there is something to be said there. Same thing, like this would be kind of cool as well, the 7-cost 9K Luffy, but it's not as practical in the deck as this one would be, having a double searcher. But this is a promo card, first of all, and guys, I did originally have the 6-cost guy in here, Yasop, because he was film Red Hair Pirates. I was like, okay, nice, okay, I'll run this guy. Did not play him one time. Did not play him one time. There's something about that 6 Dawn turn. It's like, okay, first of all, if this card's in my hand, I'll play it over the Yasop every time because he has some layer of evasion, some layer of protection. I also really liked this guy, Douglas Bullet. The 6 cost 7K has, our leader is filmed, so this one does have blocker. And yeah, it was just pretty nice. The 2K counter package, I was running 4 Sagas, 2 Gordon, and I think I was running, oh yeah, Lime Juice. I wanted a 2K counter, 4 2K counters in both Red Hair Pirates and Film. So here was the Red Hair Pirates one, here was the Film one, and then Gordon was just an extra utility one. But yeah. That's about it for this list, guys. I won't talk too much about it. Of course, Kid and Killer is just a great finisher. And Ben Beckman just, I'm going to be honest, Ben Beckman kind of just carries. With this deck, it is Film, so Ben Beckman kind of does just carry. And one thing I want to mention, too, is it would be nice if, hang on, let me take this off. It would be really nice if there was a red Film combination of cards like Green has for this leader. Where I could play out, like, let's just say I play out a Monkey D. Luffy and then cheat out like a 4-cost 6K Zoro that's vanilla. So now I have my 7-cost blocker, I've gained tempo by cheating out another body, and then I can buff it because it's a vanilla. But that doesn't exist right now currently for red Film. Unfortunately, let me show you guys. I already had Film on for red. And they do have decent cards in red Film, but nothing like what we're looking at up here. Like, I would need a 7-cost character like Ein here that could cheat out another character. But, you know, oh well. Maybe in the future, who knows? But until then, guys, I'm going to be honest. I think this leader would have been fair if it said pay 1 up to one of your characters, not with no effect. If one of your pay 1 up to one of your characters gains plus 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. I think that would have made this leader fair. Not broken, but fair. Because if I can give one character plus 2,000 power until the start of my next turn, well, now all of a sudden, like, this Shiraya is insane, right? It just counters a leader attack, right? And I think that had been fine because, I mean, you guys saw this Shiraya could not stick on the board. They just get rid of it every time. But something like that I think would have been really good. But forcing people to go down the character with no effect path, that was something like in the beginning of this game. That's pretty much no longer a thing. It's too much of a detriment to not run characters with effects like searches, removal, more searches, cannot be KO'd, whatever, you know, rush plus when attacking effects and things like that. And one more thing I want to mention on that is Sanji. Like, he was the same problem with Sanji. This one, I don't know if you guys remember the OP02 green blue Sanji. 5,000 power, 4 life. It's already at a detriment being at 4 life. But then it has a once per turn when you play a character without an effect from your hand. If you have 3 or less characters in play, you can set up to 2 your Dawn as active. Okay. That's not horrible. I feel like that's probably on par with this leader effect. Some people might say it's a little bit better because you can ramp faster, but at the same time, it's like on the same par as this one because number 1, you have 1 less life. Excuse me. Number 2, you're in green and blue, not red, so you don't even get your rush characters to follow it up with if you're trying to do something like that. And lastly, why are you limiting us to only playing with these characters? You know, with the 4-cost 6K vanillas and stuff like that. Because in the rest of the world of One Piece right now, let me show you what a 4-cost 6K looks like, right? In the rest of the world of One Piece, a 4-cost 6K looks like this. Whereas, you guys know exactly where I'm going. I just can't see it yet. Like, here's a vanilla they still play. But no, why can't I find Edward Weevil? Is he like, wait, here he is. That's what a 4-cost 6K looks like now, is with Edward Weevil. And the same thing with Boa. Boa should be down here at the bottom. Yeah, 4-cost 6K. That's what I expect when I drop a 4-cost 6K nowadays. Not a card with no effect and just a 1K counter to compensate. No way. You know, the game has evolved. There has been some power creep. It has changed. And another one, if you think like, oh, well, that's just Doffy. It's like, yeah, it's just Doffy. But then there's also a 4-cost 6K over here in the black card pool called Lucci, right? I mean, you could probably find like a good version of what I'm saying for every different color. But anyway, all right, let's keep going. So next up, we do have Oden. There it is. Nothing too special here. I don't even want to spend much time talking about it. The Hiyori, we know how good this is. Every time, guys, this card does at least force responses, but I think I can count on one hand or maybe even one finger the times I've gotten this Yamato to connect. I think it's happened once or twice in all of my time playing the game, because if you're playing against a competent opponent, they see the card and their deck is built in such a way that they're not going to get hit by this card. They're going to play it, you know, they're going to KO it, right? Or they're going to aggressively counter out of it. And now if they can't, I mean, I will say, hey, if they can't, yeah, this card's going to just run them over, and they're not getting any cards to their hand. It's a very powerful effect. I'll never deny that. But as far as, like, practicality goes, it's a very hard card to justify playing sometimes. Now, one nice thing about Hiyori is you can play her well, when we get to the Kin'emon deck, you can play this card out on turn 2, going first with the Kin'emon deck, because you can reduce the cost of this card by 1 for the turn, cheating out the 5-cost character. So there is a cool little combo there, but let me say that for when we get to Kin'emon. As far as this list goes, guys, really the all-star in this deck I feel like is Ryuma, and that I feel like there's a common theme there. You guys tell me what y'all think. If it has removal, it's a great card. Like that's just how it is right now. If I can play out a body that removes your body efficiently, effectively, that's what I want. This Yamato is actually very nice. The Cat Viper was good as well. It's also a 3-cost card you can search up with the on-KO effect of Oden. However, here's the problem. This Oden, dropping this card is just totally unrealistic sometimes, it feels like. Maybe in Kin'emon, if you can get it down on turn 4 going first or something, maybe then it's worth trying. And then if they KO it, at least you can get some kind of insurance from it, like some type of, like, payback from that on KO effect. But other than that, I feel like if I drop this card, I'm just going to lose the game a lot of times. So that card is still becoming very hard for me to justify playing. And but everything else is actually kind of decent. Like this Kin'emon's actually really good. I didn't realize how good this Kin'emon was until I played it. If you can Dawn ×1 when attacking set up to one of your 3-cost or lower 9 Scabbard dudes up, like Raizo, that's crazy. Even though it can only draw 1 card per turn, that's fine, because you're getting to attack twice. So you'll swing for 5 twice, 6 twice, 7 twice, whatever you decide to load up on him, and then attaching 1 Dawn, you're swinging 7 with this guy. So like for a 4 Dawn investment, you can swing for 7 with this guy, and then 7 twice with Raizo. You see what I'm saying? You have to do it in the correct order, like swing with Raizo first, then swing with Kin'emon, stand up the Raizo, swing again. And if you want the card draw, well, actually, I guess you could just get the card draw on the second attack, right? Even if those are the only 2 on the board, because it'd be swing for 7 with this guy if nothing else is rested on the board, then swing for 7 with Kin'emon to stand the Raizo up, and swing for 7 again with Raizo. Then you can draw the card because you have 2 or more rested characters. So and it didn't do it the first time. So really good stuff. Yeah, that's about it for Kouzuki Oden. I was running this Cat Viper, but guys, it wasn't paying off. Rest of 3 or less. I'm sure there's a situation where this could have come up and helped me win the game, but honestly, I already run the Izos. I was already running the Yamatos. The only reason I was running this was because it was a utility way to rest down a 3 or less, and had a counter, and it was Land of Wano searchable, and it was a 9 Scabbards card where I could cheat it out potentially with Kin'emon if I absolutely needed. But yeah, this effect was really good. I'm not gonna lie, like the little effect, now that there is like quite a bit of card draw in Land of Wano with Kouzuki, Momonosuke, Otama, and You Can Be My Samurai, and even the Hiyori, and the Raizo, like I said, like there's quite a bit of card draw where I didn't feel like this effect was just like costing me the game sometimes. In fact, there were times where it's like, wait a minute, I'm about to have like a 12 Dawn turn here. I'm about to like play out this card and do this and do that and the other. Well, maybe not 12 Dawn turns, but like more like having an 8 Dawn turn on your turn 3 going second is really, really strong. Like being able to cheat out the full 8 Dawns worth, because now all of a sudden I'm dropping a Yamato and a Ryuma in the same turn when I only had 6 Dawn to work with. Because it's like play out the Yamato first, rest your guy, and then trash a card from hand, play out the Ryuma, KO the guy. And now I have 2 4-cost 6Ks on the board and some tempo, some momentum. And like I said, guys, with this dude right here, with Kin'emon, this was actually pretty nice. And if I were to make any revisions, I actually think I would get rid of the Kouzuki Oden, unfortunately, the 8-cost, and go up 4 Kin'emons here, and maybe try to fit in more Cat Vipers, Yamatos, and something like, well, this Cat Viper, and maybe go down some of these. I don't know. It becomes difficult there because you have to make sure to balance out how many bricks you have in your deck and stuff like that. But anyway, so that was that one. And then last but not least, here was the Kin'emon deck. It was a little bit different because there are certain cards that basically can only be used in Kouzuki Oden, right? So let me get back to Oden real quick. Like, I think it was this card. I mean, Kin'emon, the card, has the on-play to cheat out a 3-cost or less red Scabbard character. Your leader has to be Kouzuki Oden, which is really frustrating. That's really annoying to me. I don't know why they did that. I guess that was like in the beginning of the game. They were trying to make sure it was balanced. But now there's almost no point to run this card. Same thing with Denjiro. Denjiro has an incredible effect. But guess what? Locked to Kouzuki Oden. I got to give a shout out to my buddy Mike, because we're always talking about One Piece just all the time, 24/7, you know what I mean, on the phone or in person at locals, whatever. And he made a great point, and I want to address this at some point in the future, maybe in a state of the game type of video that I mentioned earlier. Green has so many really good cards that are just locked to a certain type or leader or whatever, and I feel like it has more of those cards that are locked than any other color in the game. And I could be wrong about that, but like think about real quick, like Cavendish, right? So if we go to Cavendish, awesome card, literally incredible, really strong card, but not locked, but it's locked to Supernova. What about like Basil Hawkins, right? Like, hey, this card's really strong. Basil Hawkins, locked to Supernova if you want the blocker effect, which is arguably the most important part of this card. The once per turn effect is actually still very relevant and still very important, but if he doesn't have blocker, that really hurts the case to run him, especially without any kind of counter or anything. And then the same thing with what we were just saying up here, Kin'emon. Your leader has to be Kouzuki Oden to get the on-play effect. Denjiro, leader has to be Kouzuki Oden to get this effect. It's so strange how they do that, guys. I'm not trying to complain too much. This is not meant to be a negative video or anything, but it is odd how they do that. And then you get over to like, black cards like Gecko Moria, and then all of a sudden, this card's not leader locked, even though it's stronger than anything we just looked at. It's just really odd. And I understand, you do have to give some leniency, you have to give some credit where it's due, where Bandai, or Cardass, which I believe is the name of the developers of the game, they are really trying to make sure this game is balanced to the best of their ability, and that's why you see cards printed like Denjiro the way they're printed in Cavendish and all them. But it's like, okay, I hope they spend a little more time balancing these cards and making sure they are locked appropriately in the future, because one thing I'll say right now, guys, if this card had been locked to Thriller Bark and 7 Warlords, I think that would have been incredible for the long-term health of the game. Yes, decks would have to adapt. The meta would have changed. But hey, now everything that Bandai does in the future, or Cardass, whoever makes the game, like I said, whatever they do in the future, they have to keep this card in mind to make sure it's not some broken infinite combo in the future or something like that. Because it already practically is that, if you think about it, guys. If you actually think about it, there practically is like an infinite broken combo in the game with like Gecko Moria, Lucci, and Rebecca. Because you start putting all these cards to the bottom of your deck, like you would normally be milling out from all the cards you're trashing running a deck like that, but instead it's like, nope, now I'm just going to keep getting like about 4 cards back to the bottom of my deck every single turn from effects like, Lucci, and maybe throwing Spandine and stuff like that. I don't know, it's a headache, and again, I'm not trying to complain, we're just talking, guys, we're just kind of getting some thoughts out there. Okay, I'm done rambling. Oh, let's go back to the Kin'emon deck real quick. Let me just summarize. This list is absolutely clean, and it was working out very well. But man, I sure wish there was this card that I could have ran in here, this 6-cost card right here named Kin'emon in the Kin'emon deck. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? Because then I could have cheated cards out with the on-play, and it's 9 red Scabbards. What a perfect target to cheat out, right? I could have cheated this card out. I could have cheated out the Cat Viper potentially, or this one, I mean, and then the Rhizo. I'd have 9 legitimately incredible targets to cheat out that were 9 Scabbards. But oh well, it is what it is. Okay, I'm done, guys. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. Today was meant to be a more chill, shorter video. Ended up being over an hour long. It is what it is, right, guys? It happens. Okay, now, real quick, big shout out to everybody who supports the channel. Guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, thank you so much. Just talking about me at locals and things like that, I really appreciate it. It all helps the channel grow. And hopefully we're helping the game grow with some of these videos. Hopefully some of the newer players are finding these and getting the help they need from them. And guys, if you're a newer player, please do not hesitate to say something in the comment section below. Please reach out if you need to. Okay, and then last but not least, with the patrons here, guys, thank you to everybody who supports the channel in this way. Excuse me, we almost forgot with the playmats. Thank you to everybody who bought a playmat. Hope you guys are enjoying those. And then with the patrons, thank you guys so much for supporting the game the way you do, or supporting me in the way you do, helping me, stay in the game and, keeping the dream alive. All right, we're done. Appreciate y'all. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, guys. Peace.